this weekend, yeah, you fucking nailed that.
Right off. Penalty for stealing that ring.
Old leather gloves, we're slapping in hands. Popcorn and peanuts, we're working the stands. Pink cotton candy, love on a stick. He's chasing the beer, the trick of the lips. Play ball, play ball. Roll up the bases and smack it right over the wall. Play ball.
Good evening and
the
welcome to
Caps.
Laughter Saves Lives Live. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Awesome. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Jeff Gold. He is an expert on tax grievance, property tax grievance, and he's here to share his knowledge with us because I know that everybody is a little in an uproar over the new assessment and how things were originally assessed and how they're being assessed now. So he's going to join us for the hour, and we're going to have a good time with that. And real quick, Pat, how was your week?
All right, not bad, Good. We spent Saturday together. We did that commercial.
We
had
made that
some fun,
commercial,
yeah.
yes.
How did that go?
It was great. We had a lot of fun. And if anybody wants to have us do a commercial,
Just reach out to John and we'll...
John
Joe,
LaRocchia Jr. produced, directed it. He did a sterling job.
he really
he's a
did.
pro.
And it's the first time I ever seen John Senior really in line and stay
Yes.
focused.
His son kept him in line.
He was so good at holding the boom.
Yes.
he really was.
We're going to call him Boom Boom from now on because he dropped it.
Hold the boom?
Hold the boom, but he
Yes.
was getting very antsy up there. It was
So-
so fun to watch. I should have videotaped it.
Yes.
He was like he wanted to be in the action.
Always.
But he had a great closer. He was the whole.
He was. When the
He
commercial
was
comes
funny.
out, it'll be here on the show and you'll be able to see it. How about your week?
My week was pretty good.
All right.
Yeah. I got exclusive, and we have the video. I got us exclusive inside the White House footage of Trump writing the State of the Union address, which is tonight.
Oh, fantastic. We will get to that a little later. Steve, how was your week?
None of your business.
Awesome. Awesome. So I know we have a lot of new viewers tonight because everyone's tuning in to see Jeff. And I just want to let them all know a little bit about what Laughter Saves Lives is. Laughter Saves Lives is a foundation. It's a charitable foundation that raises money for military and first responders who may be struggling to pay some bills or through sickness and whatnot. So we our money is collected through donations. We do one charity event every year specifically for the Laughter Saves Lives. It's our annual gala, or almost gala as we call it. And of course, through sponsorships, we raise money. So if anyone has any interest in sponsoring or donating, we'll have the website up later on, and you can become part of the Laughter Saves Lives family through donations.
I think you might have to repeat that again later because we have 8 viewers now and 7 of them are us.
Oh,
So
You can become part of the family.
I'm
Don't
not
be-
viewing this.
okay.
Thousands.
You have two others.
So,
Don't become part of my family. My dad left in '72. All right, buddy?
well, he's still looking for that great Christmas gift you told me. So anyway, so why we have Jeff here? Jeff, tell us a little bit about how you got into grieving the taxes and how you kind of discovered what was happening and that there was a way to get the.
Well, in 2002, I was appointed to become a member of the Nassau County Board of Assessors. And some of you might remember we were actually doing a reassessment back then.
Yes.
And there were some really big mistakes in that reassessment. And by going out and doing community meetings, we were able to determine what some of them were. And we were able to fix them. And I got to understand the process of how assessments are put together and how they value property. And got to see mass appraisal, which is how all our homes are now being assessed through a mass appraisal process. I know there are problems with that. I think I know what they are and how we fix them. I know it takes time. Everybody's like, we have to fix this now. The numbers are bad. It's going to take time, a couple of years, but we'll get them right. And then after that, I served on the Assessment Review Commission for a few years. Learned what the Assessment Review Commission is supposed to do in order to review your assessment and lower it.
Can you tell us, the viewers, a little bit about that? Or?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we were talking about it before, and I think your viewers understand. They are supposed to compare your house to other homes in the neighborhood, in the school district, that are like yours, that have sold. Not your neighbor's house who's assessed lower, but it's actually a house that is actually sold in your school district. And they make adjustments between your house and that one. And if you're assessed too high, and by too high, you're supposed to be assessed at what you can sell your house for. And so that's called fair market value. So they're trying to assess your home at fair market value. And this latest attempt at reassessment, which I think's, based on my practice, I see is fairly good. There's still some overassessed properties, but it's been pretty good. Not a lot of underassessed properties. Underassessed properties mean that somebody pays less than they should, and then that means other people pay more than they should. Because the county, when it reassesses, it doesn't get more money. Okay, neither the school districts don't get more money, they all get the same amount. It's just a determination of how
pays what part
how
of
the
the pie?
pie is cut up.
Hey, Jeff.
But your taxes do get, I'm sorry, Steve.
Go ahead, buddy.
Go
But
fight, guys.
your taxes still, if your assessment is higher, your taxes are gonna go up. So
No, because everybody's assessments was so artificially low for the past 10 years that people can go up. Some people going up 40% and their taxes are staying the same. I think we looked at yours today, and you're going up about 40%. And your taxes are going up $500,
Right.
which is nothing, and that's being phased in over 5 years.
Now,
that's what
one
maybe
of-
people
one
are
of-
afraid of. That's what I'm saying.
Pat's a little confused.
They have not done a really good PR job, and that's why I agreed to come on tonight to reach
and
more
we
people.
thank you for that.
One
of the biggest questions I get as a real estate agent, people ask me about the grieving and the taxes. Is it based on this? Like people say, well, I live in a 1,500 square foot house and I have a 100 by 100 lot, and another guy says I live in a 1,200 square foot house and I have a 40 by 100 lot. My understanding is that it's based on square footage of your house, not property size.
Well, it's based in part on property size, more on square footage, and what's the biggest rule in property?
Location.
Location.
Yes.
So, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, and I think if anybody still read Newsday? Well,
No.
No.
okay, so it's one of the few places you can get some information, but Newsday wrote this article a few weeks ago, and these people from Jericho, beautiful street in Jericho, were complaining. And they were saying, I'm being forced out of Nassau County. And their taxes were going up about $5,000 under reassessment. But they lived in a 2,800 square foot house in the best school district in not only Nassau, but the country, on one of the best streets. Their neighbor had just sold for $1,050,000. Another neighbor was on the market for $900,000. And they were assessed for $350,000.
Wow.
So that house, because they had grieved every single year, was assessed and paying the same taxes as a 3-bedroom Cape, 1 bath in Massapequa.
Now they're going up
That's not fair.
5,000 on a base of what? Do you remember what their base was?
Yeah, they were paying about 8 and they were going to 13.
No,
right,
Jeff.
so
14.
they were way too low. They got
Way under
Pay up.
I feel bad. I hate to see people leave, but the goal here is parity. There's a lot of people.
Well, they
making
seem
this
like
a
they had
political-
some friends in the town. They let them get away with it.
No, it would be the county, not the town.
county, whatever.
And they just understood that you just keep filing these grievances, and that the county, under the prior administration, had fired 45 to 50 appraisers. So it had nobody who could handle this, the grievances. So all they could do is give everybody a reduction.
But
and
you know what?
80% of the people got
But that's a
reductions.
pretty big
I
number.
think-
That's a pretty big number to let slide by. I mean,
Big number.
That's like some people's the value of some people's whole home.
And do you know what happens? When 100,000 people grieve, school tax rates go up.
Right.
Because you told me you live in Massapequa.
Yeah.
So what happens is last time, 60%.
I'm paying more than the Jericho people, by
Right.
the way.
Okay, and 60% of the people in Massapequa, got reductions last time out.
Right.
So, when you wanted a visual, you have your school tax. It's set based upon the amount of property value in the district. You got a tax rate, you got your school tax. You drop the property value because everybody wins their grievances, the school tax rate goes up.
Right. The rate.
The rate goes
Right.
up. And so even the people who got reductions didn't get big reductions because their tax rate went up. The people who stayed home and didn't grieve, they
Right.
went up a lot.
Can you
So
stop?
about 6
Can
to
you stop
8%.
referring to it with all due respect? Pat doesn't understand this, Jeff.
I'm
referring
using
to it.
monosyllables.
Well, stop referring to it as taxes. Say the VIG. He'll
The
understand.
VIG.
The VIG, it's your VIG. okay.
And another thing, I live on exit 59 under the LIE. Do I still have to pay taxes?
Under the LA, no.
Under the overpass.
Well, you do now.
So can I just ask you one piece? So
We
you
caught
said
I know.
Sure.
you mentioned there's 2 points I want to make. One, I think people get in the habit of this is what we've always paid year to year, and these increases are dramatic because not knowing how it works per se, you know, my taxes have always been what they are, and I'm going up a little bit, not the end of the world, right? But a lot of people are getting these big increases, and they're used to paying a lot less, whether it was fair or not. That's just they, you know, fat, dumb, and happy. They open their bill, they pay.
They claim they're
that's
being
what they
punished.
pay, right? They think they're being punished. But can you explain how the school district? Because you mentioned the school district and the entire county. How does the tax burden change between the district and the whole county?
In each school district, in each taxing district, they still have to set a levy. Okay, every single taxing district, the county, the town, you know, if you live, villages are separate, okay, because almost the villages use their own assessment situation. But the fire districts, the library districts, they all set a value they need to collect. And that's based on a tax rate. And the tax rate is based upon what they believe to be the taxable value of the property in the district. If property value goes down, tax rates go up. And that happens all the time. Now, all these people who say they're being punished because they grieved all these years, look, if you go to an ATM machine, you know, at the 7-Eleven every day, and you go to take out $100, and it gives you $120, that's great.
Right.
Okay? Are you punished when they finally fix it? No.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Well, maybe you are.
So-
But, okay?
Those people in Jericho.
let Frank-
But the,
people in Jericho.
but the big gulps are coming down in price.
Frank's a realtor, so his question is likely to be an
Well, actually,
intelligent one.
probably not, because he's actually from my wife. I told you my wife was grieving a lot of people's
She's been
taxes for
grieving
them.
your marriage too.
Well, listen, I can't blame her. I can't blame
She's
her.
going to put me out of business.
But no, she won't. She really looks forward to your seminars and stuff. But she did come up with a couple of questions that she thought. With the new assessment that everything is now based on market value and not this assessed value, the 0.25 that they were doing. If your house is currently fairly assessed correctly at the market value, should you still grieve your taxes under this new system?
I'm going to ask you this.
Sure.
Do you trust the county to do the
I
right
don't trust
thing?
anybody.
Well, if you don't trust the county to do the right thing, you should file a grievance this year, because what happens is this way you know you're getting an individualized review. Somebody with a degree in appraisal science is going to look at your house and determine if you're assessed fairly. And you know what? If they come back and they say you're assessed fairly, you're going to feel better about what the county did, and you're going to feel better about paying those taxes, even though nobody wants to pay more taxes.
You got to go with
Now, I
somebody
know-
who knows what they're doing.
Well, I know that you do this, and that's part of your business. However, you
not
seem,
why I'm here, and it's
I know
not why
that.
I run the
I know
Facebook
that,
group.
and that's what I wanted to say is. But I noticed that you advocate for doing it yourself, and you know, without naming any particular names, these large law firms that claim to reduce your taxes for you, and then. Why do people feel that they have to go to somebody else? Why?
Well,
you know,
in 2012 and 2013 or 14, people actually did better filing with the law firms. And so people think you do better. Somebody in county government at that time thought that it would be a good idea to give a couple of these bigger law firms, not even all the firms, a better rate of return with their clients. And it's statistically provable. Newsday wrote an article about it. So, you know, those years, some people filed on their own and didn't get reductions, and they feel like they, you know, should have done better. But that has not happened for the last at least the last 5 to 6 years. People who file on their own do as well as people who file through the law firms. I tell people that, you know, people can hire my firm to do it. We do a flat rate. We don't charge a percentage. But people can hire my firm to do it, and I tell them, do it yourself. You're going to get the same reduction. Last year, 70 to 80,000 people got automatic reductions of 6.6%. It didn't matter if they filed it on their own or they filed it through a firm. That was the reduction they were going to get. Now, this year, you're only going to get a reduction if you can prove your house is assessed for more than fair market value. The process is really simple, and I've been giving lectures for years.
Can you
telling
touch a
people-
little bit on the process?
Yeah, it's basically you fill out you apply online to register. Give them your name, your address, a passcode. You don't even have to set up a real fancy passcode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 works great.
Is that your code?
How'd you know
no,
my
it's
code?
Not, it's not mine, but nobody's breaking into your computer to grieve your taxes. for
Right.
you, okay?
Well, my wife will. She's got not a lot to
Well,
do.
you don't have to set a real fancy passcode. And once you're registered, you go online. The county shows you all your comparable sales. And if you find other comparable sales, arm's length sales in your neighborhood, you can add them in. You tell people about your house. I have an old kitchen. I have an old bath. I've got ceilings coming down. I've got a crack house next door. I've got, you know, the neighbor
Wait,
next
you have
door.
to
has a-
write all that down? I
You
just filled
can.
out the form.
Well,
really?
You
that
can.
was one
It
of the
helps.
questions. So when you are doing comps, and you're looking at the house in the area and you have a very outdated kitchen, do you submit photos of your
You
kitchen?
can. You can actually upload
Oh.
photos of your kitchen. And what happens, you do this in Part D. Now, Part D is considered optional. And under the prior group that was in charge, they didn't have any people to look at Part D. But the current administration, as part of the reassessment, and the legislature gave them money to do it, is hiring people. They're hiring appraisers. If anybody needs a job or is a licensed appraiser, ARC is looking for licensed appraisers. And so far, they had 4 to start, and now they've got 15, and they're going to be able to review, these grievances that come in.
I know under the old system, that was a lot of people's fear was like, oh, if I grieve my taxes, the county's going
Right.
to come to my house, they're going to knock on the door. And I noticed a lot with the elderly when they go to sell their homes. I mean, they get a lot of their reductions or deductions, I should say, just because of age and stuff. But a lot of them wouldn't grieve, and then they have a little cape and they're paying $17,000 in taxes.
And it makes it hard to sell the house
And it makes
after
it
they pass.
very
Yeah.
difficult to sell, and of course the grievance when you get it doesn't take effect for 2 years. So it's
We see it all the time. Now, what's very clear is the county can't raise you by filing a grievance. You have until April 30th to file this year. The county executive extended it from February 28th to April 30th or March 1st to April 30th. So you actually have an extra 2 months to do it. By now, you've all received in the mail 3 different notices telling you what the county values your house at.
Yep.
And unless you just bought your house for less than you're assessed at, there's no harm in filing a grievance. The county can't raise you up, and they don't come to your house to check.
now, because you can submit an appraisal, does a real estate's what we call a broker price opinion or a market analysis, does that suffice, or do you need an actual bank appraisal to
And frankly, even an appraisal that's done for a
refinance?
a refinance doesn't really count because they're just trying to find the value in the house for the refinance. And a broker's letter, that doesn't help because brokers, there are a lot of brokers, and they'll just give you a value. What does help is if your house has been on the market, you have an MLS number, you can submit that and show that your house has been on the market for 6 months at $400,000, so you can't be assessed at $450 because you haven't been able to sell.
At 400.
Right. So you can.
But now,
use that.
what would stop people from now putting their house on the market overpriced and then 6 months later taking it off and saying, they're wasting everybody's time, of course, and now saying, but look, my house didn't.
Well, they'd have to show the number they're valued at, and that the number they're valued at. Let's say you're assessed at $400,000. If you put your house on the market for $400,000 and it doesn't sell, then you're assessed too high. Okay. If they put a higher number on at $450, it doesn't prove that they're assessed improperly at $400. Okay. But could somebody do that? Yeah, they probably could do that. Just like you could sell your house, you each could sell your houses to each other for $300,000, say they're arm's length transactions, and you could then, isn't that a great idea?
That's an excellent idea.
All of your neighbors complaining about their tax assessment should sell their houses for $100,000.
To each other.
To each other.
Everybody sell a house to the person on your right.
Now,
100%.
what about the people that live
But
in
we know-
villages?
But
I
they
don't
would
talk
know
to
that's
my
not arm's
neighbors.
length. They're not good. Well, they'll pay
Well,
$100,000
living
for
under
your
the bridge,
house.
you probably don't have too many neighbors.
But let me ask you a question. When you say that you're assessing, you want to sell your house for $400,000, that's what you're assessing it at?
I don't assess property.
No.
I'm an attorney.
No, what?
The county
When somebody
assesses.
wants to sell their
Spoken
house,
like an attorney.
when somebody wants to sell their house, they'll call
I
in
understand,
a
but what I'm
realtor,
saying is-
and the realtor will come up with
This
with
is
the
comps.
price.
They call them comps,
comps.
right?
People could waste your time.
They
So
do.
if they
Believe
don't-
me, they do. They come in, you give them the numbers, and they still want to sell their house for $150,000 higher.
But you know what? So many times people, they just have lost track with the market.
Right.
Okay.
Well, they also look at Zillow, which is a very.
Doesn't work.
And by the way, I understand that using Zillow or what they call Zestimate does not count for your
No, I've had.
grievance.
I've spoken with people in the county, and it's very clear this year they are going to require comparables. You have to provide comparables. In past years, I used to tell people because there was nobody. I knew there was nobody there to look at them.
Get the
So I would tell
crappiest
people
house on
just
the
use
block.
the crappiest house in the neighborhood. It doesn't matter if there are trees
that was
growing
your
in the
house
living
everybody
room.
was using, John.
That was mine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yours
doesn't
was
matter
the
if there are
crappiest
trees
house.
growing in the living room. It doesn't matter if it had a fire. It doesn't matter if it has a blue tarp on the seat. That was fine
Right.
because nobody was looking.
Right.
Okay,
Now-
now
Everyone
they're
around me
looking.
blew up their houses. It was one house, now there's 2. I'm the smallest house. I am the
You
shittiest
got the
You're
worst
funniest-
house in the nicest
But you're
neighborhood.
the funniest guy in the block. buddy.
Now, what
By
about
far.
Suffolk County? I noticed Suffolk. I don't know if you deal too much with Suffolk County, but their system seems to be totally different. Even their public records.
They do it by town.
Okay.
Okay, so the town of Brookhaven assesses, the town of Southold assesses, the
Not
town
the
of
school,
Huntington.
not the school district.
No, they provide the values for the school districts, the assessments for the school districts. But what the difference is they do it by town, but they don't have the county guarantee.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, remember, you guys are like me, roughly the same age. County has a guarantee. It used to base its valuation of homes and assessments on 1939 construction values. And that was really stupid. Because it cost the same to build a house in Garden City in 1939 as it did to build a house in Roosevelt. And they didn't go up the same amount each year. So the state says, well, you can assess any way you want, but now you're going to have to guarantee reductions to the school district. So if your assessment's wrong and you have to issue a refund, you've got to now refund what the school collected. And the problem with that is, what percentage of Massapequa tax is school? About 65%.
65%
Yeah.
at least, yeah.
So you got 16%, county collects 16% and has to refund 100%.
In fact,
So-
that's exactly what it is, because I'm doing the numbers
Yeah.
in my head. and
So,
that's about what it
yeah,
is.
that's what it
So
is.
smart.
He's
Joe.
good.
Now,
So-
now, can you agree village taxes a lot?
You can, but village taxes are done by the village, and most of them have a very short period of time based upon their village assessor. And you know what? That really works, just like the town assessor, because a village assessor could walk down Massapequa Park and say 450, 470, 460, 490, 430, and they're going to be relatively close, within a few $1,000s. That's more accurate because they know the system, and that's what the county is striving for, assessors that know each community. The problem is this: until the county gets the numbers accurate and can get rid of that county guarantee, okay, the school guarantee, the towns are never going to take it over. Why would they want to? They're adopting all this liability and they're adopting an inaccurate role. The first step is bear with the county executive and the assessor. First time we've had a licensed assessor in, I guess, 8 years. And let's see the numbers become accurate. And when these numbers become accurate, God, the towns would love to take it over. I mean, it gives them 80 new jobs each.
Right.
A lot of
Yes.
redundancy there.
You said the deadline is April 30th, so for those of us that have already filed, can we amend?
Yes, you can go back in up until April 30th
until
and
April
amend,
30th.
or you can actually withdraw it and refile it. It's a very simple system. So, like I said, you register, and then you go on the system and you just tell them a little about your house. You pick your comparables. Takes 5 or 6 minutes, and yet we've had people, who are paying law firms 50%,
Yeah, I did.
thousands of
Yeah.
dollars.
But now what they're doing is they're doing 50% of the projected as well. So
Well, it's
Yeah.
only projected.
Right.
You used to. I guess you're. How long have you been in Nassau?
Nassau County been just about all my life.
Okay, so
40
you
years.
remember when you used to apply and get a refund? Well, that was
Yeah.
great. Now you're not getting your refund. You're just paying a little bit less.
Yeah, I don't know
But-
if he charged me what he should have charged me.
Oh, I don't calculate, but the Department of Assessment will. If you want to know, you'll call them up and say, this is what they said I say. They'll tell you that. So what happens is now you fill out your form and you don't get a reduction. You get a projected savings, and that projected savings doesn't take into account the fact that your school tax just went up 6%.
So, but how is this going to be affected? Because we're right now we're kind of in what's known as a seller's market. Prices are a little high. Everything's starting to shift now. It's becoming a buyer's market. But people that bought last year obviously paid top dollar. Some paid more than another year. So, are the assessments going to change as
Absolutely.
the market, the real estate market changes?
Absolutely. That's what the county is obligated to reassess annually. But the prior administration froze it. So they froze it at 2008 values. And obviously values have gone up since 2008. And what they did to make it worse is pretty much everybody that grieved went down. So people who didn't grieve stayed at their 2008 values, maybe a little bit less. People who did grieve went down below the 2008 values, and the numbers completely skewed. And it's just it's a crazy system.
It really is.
I think it's a corrupt system from the county standpoint.
That's
they never
what
should have done it.
sounds like it.
Yeah, they never
What do you
should have
mean
done it.
never should have done what part of it?
They never should have froze the assessment, because the only way you can keep the rolls accurate is to adjust each year. And I think this was something I was trying to explain before. Let's say the three of you grieve, and you don't grieve because you're living under the train.
Correct.
Okay, so three of you prove that you get reductions. Okay, you're going to have to prove that you're entitled to a reduction this year by comparables. But let's say the three of you prove it. You live in the same neighborhood, be it not as nice a house,
Right.
and you didn't file your tax.
It's more like an
grievance.
overhang.
Okay, you didn't file your tax grievance. The assessor is going to come in. He thinks this is funny.
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. In any event,
He doesn't have a very high standard of
no,
humor.
not a high
No.
standard.
You never seen
His
his
house
act.
is
That's
convenient
Patty
to all
G,
the
folks
freeways.
out
Okay,
there. Yeah.
so in any event,
I know it is.
if you don't grieve, but your neighbors grieve and they show that your neighborhood is overvalued, the assessor has to come in and look at that. And that's what he does next year. After the tax grievance period is over, after the assessment review commission has issued, the reductions and has reviewed everybody's, grievance, the assessor looks at this and goes, well, this area of Massapequa, definitely overassessed. I have to make adjustments. This area of Belmore, underassessed. I have to,
Right.
I'm not going to make adjustments. I can't raise them up more than 6% next year, but I'm going to raise them up a little bit and balance it out. So that's how you get accurate rolls.
We got to take a commercial break. So, Bobby, can you run the commercial?
Why don't you just cut Jeff off?
Nice
huh?
segue.
Sorry.
Please listen. This is a LifeVac. It's easy to use and can save a life in an airway emergency. LifeVac is proven to save lives, and it's as simple as place, push, pull. I've had one in my kitchen and one in my car for years, and you should have one in yours. Choking is a leading cause of death. 5,000 people a year die from choking, one child every 5 days, and it can happen in just 4 minutes. There's no time to wait. If you have children in your home, please consider your LifeVac today.
Choking.
And we're back with Jeff, although I cut him off. We're going to get into...
Yeah,
first
that wasn't too nice.
it was not meant to be
We
that
had a
way.
hard stop.
Um,
Sorry, it's television.
You know,
business, you
it's
understand.
it happens.
Yeah, but on TV,
but,
they
uh,
usually,
do this
on
every
TV
day.
we say we got to. On TV, they would say, the big stars would say, "Hey,
Right.
Jeff, we got to cut the commercial."
But this
In case
is-
you haven't
Back to,
noticed, we're not the big stars.
We're not the big stars.
You are.
But one of
Well,
the biggest
you know.
issues, with the taxes is the 0.25, the now the 10%, the 6%. What do all those numbers mean?
Well, the county had assessed at 0.25, but 0.25 was a lie. Okay, what was happening was
0.25 of what?
0.2. They were taking what they said was your fair market value. They were multiplying it by 0.0025, and that was your assessed value. Okay, but the only people who were at 0.0025 are the people who didn't grieve, because the people who grieved every year got a reduction, not necessarily on their assessed value, but their level of assessment was reduced, which reduced their assessment. And because they got their, for example, last year, let's say you had a house that was assessed at $1,000. You would think that's a $400,000 home at 0.0025. The county really was valuing that home at about 0.0014. So that house that grieved every year would be about $700,000. So if you were assessed at $1,000 under the old rule, you were really being assessed as if you were a $700,000 home. And they didn't tell you that, so people didn't know it. Now, there's a lot. So what the county did is now there were homes that were assessed, should have been assessed as a $400,000 home, and they had lowered the value by constant grieving to about $225,000. And we had discussed that as well. And you're in that situation. They kept lowering you and lowering you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't grieve every year though, so that's why
so-
I think I'm like
Right, you're
some
okay.
kind of weird, middle ground.
So what happens is by lowering the level to 0.10, they can capture, if they kept the value at 0.006, I'm sorry, at 0.0025 as the legislature, many members of the legislature want, and as some of the people running around the county saying, keep it at 0.0025, there's a petition. The problem with that is, take a look at our Jericho home. I hate to make fun of these poor people, but they're living in $1 million home. It's now assessed at $950. Because they'd grieved every year, it was brought down to $350. At 6% a year, how many years do we have to wait to get that home paying the taxes equivalent of a $950,000 home? It's about 30 years if you
Right.
can only raise it at 6% a year.
But the
And,
que-
and that's assuming we only see 2% appreciation.
Right.
But the thing is, it should have never been grieved down that low. I mean, there should be standards where they should go by. I mean, that's like really crazy.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
That's a
So
big.
but-
That's a big jump.
But it happened all the time.
yeah. So there was funny business going on. That's what it was.
So the grieving affects real estate values and affects everyone in the neighborhood with excessive grieving. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well,
in a general, in a sense.
Because what happened is they took the market value out of the grievance process and just gave everybody reductions. It changed the whole market. You know, homes. For example, that home that was assessed, with the $950,000 home assessed as a $350,000 home should sell at a premium, and the home that you said you were talking about that $17,000 that should really be $12, it's going to sell at a reduction.
Right.
we got to fix that.
But that's,
and that's the goal.
The new homeowner really gets screwed because
Yes.
he's buying a home saying he's paying tax at a certain amount, and he buys a home for $1 million. He's going to get screwed tremendously.
Under the prior administration, okay, keep in mind everybody was paying 40% less, or I'm sorry, everybody was assessed 40% to 60% less than what their home's fair market value was. I think we all looked at our assessments and we were. The prior administration taxed new construction at full value. So they're paying 60% more than what they actually paid for the house when you do the adjustments. Fortunately, that's been caught, and we've seen some huge reductions. We just had a family in Massapequa save $15,000.
That was the Santo family.
What was their base that they went down 15?
You know, they were paying 28. And they
28,000.
got a $15,000 reduction.
So
more
they're where
than
they're
half.
supposed
Jeff.
to be.
And they're paying exactly where they should be.
Bobby, did you get that picture I just sent you? If you could put that up in a minute,
Hey
if,
Jeff,
if you can.
Pat's home was worth $300,000, but he's got like $600,000 in basil plants in his backyard.
And the fig trees.
And the fig
Can I claim
trees.
farm status? I have a bunny in my backyard, and I'm growing vegetables.
We don't have that as an exemption.
Actually,
in
We don't
here.
have
No,
farms.
we don't have a farm status.
Jeff, can I-
Crap! I was gonna buy chickens.
You're going into the cannabis business?
I actually
too?
live in
No,
a
no,
crawl
no, no, no,
space.
just chickens and bunnies.
I mean, can you imagine
Cross Bay Boulevard?
what Roosevelt
Crawl
real estate?
space.
Not
Oh,
Roosevelt.
Cross.
Can you imagine what Rosedale real estate's about to go to when Nassau County bans cannabis sales
Yeah.
and Suffolk does? I mean, it's going to be Nassau. You know, Sunrise Highway is going to have traffic 24/7 going to the Rosedale border.
Right.
Can I write off career disappointment?
Hey, Bobby, can you put that picture
You'd
up?
have to.
Jeff, I have these hideous, ugly. This is my wife's curtains. These
Wow.
are 1970s third world country paramilitary camouflage.
Should he
retro.
submit those pictures
Can
when
I,
he takes?
if I submit that, well, I'm looking at a big reduction, right?
No, but you're giving it. You've got really bad.
Are those not the hideous?
Those are retro 70s.
These
Yeah,
are actually
Adam
in my
Levine
house.
could make that into a shirt.
That's right.
Aren't they
That's right.
hideous? I think the county might take pity on me.
If
I
you
have
had
to
a
look at
kitchen
these.
that matched, you might get a reduction.
I might get a reduction?
but not from
If
not
they
for
were,
something you can
if
change
they
that
were in the
quickly.
bathroom in Psycho, he would have never gone to the bathroom and killed that lady. It's a long reference, but
Why would
I'm
you even
using it.
put that up?
Under
To get the
the previous
we just lost about 10
way of
minutes.
They'll get a kick out of them.
of grieving the taxes, excuse me, used to get a point reduction. So like you know,
Maybe the
what,
same
what
thing.
did what did the yeah, but what did those like people would say to me like they would get like 200 points off and they say they thought it was $200. I'm like, no, that's probably like 2,000 or
In
you know,
Massapequa, $3,000. Yeah.
And but what is
Well,
the
you have to look at
the
your school
formula
tax.
for
You
that?
have to look at your school tax rate. Every school district sets a rate per 100 of assessed value.
Per 100.
Per 100. Massapequa was about 1,600. Belmore, Merrick, they're about 1,500. Wantua, Seaford, about the 15 to 16 per 100.
Do they do
Then
the
on-
same in Suffolk? Not
No, they all do the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Then what happens is you have to look at your town has a rate per 100. Your library has a rate per 100. You know, the towns
Right,
have done a really
library.
good job breaking this down so you can see what the rates are per 100 on your tax bill. So each $100 of reduction, points reduction, is times your tax rate. So the Massapequa total tax rate's like $1,800 total. So for every 100 you save in Massapequa, you go down $1,800.
Nice.
Less than if you hadn't grieved at all. Because remember, tax rates are going up.
Right.
Right.
So
But you know what keeps Massapequa taxes down? The mall.
it helps.
Yeah, there's
Sunrise
a
Mall
lot of
and all that
It
keeps-
does
a lot
help.
of commerce in
it does help.
Massapequa keeps
I thought the
everything
fact
down.
that Trump lives there.
Now
That too.
He's too.
No politics, you told me.
that's right, no politics. The shell game that the county plays, where you grieve, I don't, so your reduction gets put over onto mine. Is that going to be the same with the new system, or are they going to say, well, Jeff's
You know what
house
that's
is
like? It's like a bartender at night. Not that like a bartender at night saying, giving that one guy a break and putting it on the other guy's
Right.
bill. It's exactly what it is.
Right.
Well, that's exactly what happened because all
Nice
these people were
reference.
grieving. So what happened is the tax rate
buy
goes
alcohol.
up, value goes down, tax rate goes up. The assumption is that once they get these values fair, and people say it's not fair to pay taxes. Once they get these values correct, then people aren't going to get big reductions. You're going to get a reduction if you prove you're entitled to a reduction.
I know this is not has nothing you have nothing to do with this, but I think once they get the
No, you don't.
No, but once they get the assessments right, I think what they should do is now that they're getting more money, they should give everybody a break and pull it down a little bit because we're overtaxed in New York. I don't care what anybody
But
says.
assessments are revenue neutral. So the county doesn't get any more money because it changes your assessments. You go up, you go down. It's dollar for dollar.
Yeah, but I mean,
equal.
people's taxes, like those people in Jericho,
Right.
they're going to pay higher taxes.
Jeff,
And
I'll
they
handle
should
this.
because
Right, but
when
I'm
they go
saying
to
now
sell
that
their
everybody's
house.
in the right area, some people should get
I
a
know
break.
Jeff's highly qualified. I know.
I'm gonna turn it over
This
to
is
you.
what Jeff does, and we're glad he's here. Let me speak.
You're
in
saying
his-
the pie
Let me
is
speak
too
in his
big.
language.
Counsel, let him
why don't they
speak.
drop it
Let
down?
him
Can I
speak on your
speak?
behalf, Counselor.
Speak on my behalf.
That's
Can
my
I,
point.
not in your behalf, but I want to speak in his language. It's like you're making a meatball hero, right? You put 4 meatballs on one hero. The other guy, you give like 2 meatballs, and you eat the other one. You follow me? It's a shell game, baby.
So what if?
You understand now, Jeff? I had to make it in
Okay.
plain. You
I
know?
actually have an intelligent question.
Really?
What if Nassau and Suffolk, hypothetically, because it comes up about every 10 years, seceded from New York State and formed its own state?
What's the intelligent question?
What would that do to our? Because I want to do it and make myself the governor.
We're waiting.
Oh.
What would that do to? Because I think too much of our money is going to the city and they waste the suburbs' money. What would happen if New York City was separate and the suburbs all seceded?
So if Long Island became the 51st state, is that what you're asking?
First of all, this is way beyond my pay grade.
Okay. 'Cause
But,
that's what we're gonna do, Long
I
Island.
would think.
I got to be honest with that question's
I-
beyond his
I
pay
think
grade
if
too.
Nassau and Suffolk formed their own state,
Form their own state.
they would pay less in taxes than they currently do.
Long Island, I'm taking us private.
Secede.
The problem is this: you would
What?
then have an awfully big commuter tax. When
Yes,
you
they
wanted
would
to go
screw
in.
us, yes.
They would completely screw
That's
you.
why we'd have to declare
Interesting.
war on New York and invade.
Okay, so you work in the city, and so many of us do, or not anymore, thankfully. But so many do. If they do that,
They'd
they're going
slam
to
us
throw a
with the
10%
commuter
tax
tax,
on salaries earned out of state.
Now, when people want to grieve and they want to look for the comps, the comparables, where should they go to look for
Well,
those?
again, I have a Facebook page. I'm going to give a plug.
Yeah,
here.
please do.
It's Nassau Grieve Your Tax Assessment Free.
Well, you
on
should be
Facebook.
sharing this on your Facebook page.
I
so
am
your
going to
fans-
share this on my
He's gonna
Facebook
share
page.
it.
He's gonna
Do it
share it.
live,
And get,
you know?
get you members. I
He
don't
wants to
know
see how
to
good
do
the
that.
show is before he
Okay,
shares it.
you know what? I'm
Listen,
a
he's talking about a sponsorship here. We
Let
don't
him
want
give his
to.
plug. Will you let him give his
To
plug?
be honest with you, I'm in Massapequa. I'm not the biggest. They don't love me here. Okay,
Well, you
I'm
got
going to need
some
armed guards
you
just
got
to
some
get to my
fans.
car.
You got,
I got
some
you.
fans calling in. Ronnie Schnell.
Jeff,
Oh,
Ronnie
Ronnie's good.
Schnell.
Ronnie's good.
You're
Yeah.
Ronnie's
like
good
the greatest
people.
in the world. Yeah.
Ronnie's very good.
So
But I'm-
what I was going to tell you is I have a Facebook page. I have a pinned announcement on that page, and it walks you through it. And in fact, you don't even have to be a member of the group to get the data and get the information and get all the files that I prepared on answering all your questions. But the county gives you, when you file your grievance, it gives you sales up until about October. Okay, because there's a lag time. And then also, everybody's gotten a notice in the mail of their prognos report. It's 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 what they did when they taxed you, and they sent you a new tax assessment out. And online, your prognos report, and I think in the mail, has all the sales in your neighborhood up until I think December. I mean, it's really very, very
Yeah, it was.
close.
I just did it. It was
very close
pretty
to being
current.
accurate. Yeah.
Yep.
So the county's giving you plenty. But you can find other sales on Zillow. You can find other sales on other sites. You can go to your local realtor, and they'll sometimes help you out in the hopes to use them when time comes. It's I sometimes find comparables by putting in the name of the street onto Google and just sold properties, Belmore Avenue, and a ton of properties will come up.
Now, it should be noted that you do this as a public service. You're doing this for people.
We have 24,000 members.
24,000. I'm a member. I've been on it for a while. It's a great thing to go on. But don't give Jeff a hard time. Ask him a question, but don't be rude. Don't be like a typical Facebook person. Be nice.
Right.
Well,
Because he's doing this.
the beauty of
You mean
my
like you are to our fans that watch our show every week?
No, always certain people. We know who they are.
All fans are very nice,
See,
John.
Very nice to the fans.
And you know this, the beauty of my site is it's still a private site. I'm still a private citizen. I'm not a public official.
Right.
So if we get trolls, we just get rid of them.
Right.
Okay? Somebody wants to start.
We want trolls. We don't even
Somebody
get trolls.
wants to
on our-
start.
We can't even get trolls.
Somebody starts cursing out somebody I happen to like.
get rid of-
I get
you
rid
ditch
of
them.
them. No, it's a private group. I'm giving you the information for free. You don't have to be a member. You can still be kicked out of the group, and I kicked 3 people out this year, or 4 people. You can still get all the information, unless you really tick me off, and then I block.
Then you block.
And you block.
Then I block.
Now, what about? I know you do your seminars, which are very, very informative, and the county does some too.
Right.
Not so good.
You know what? As a private citizen, I can say things the county can't.
Okay.
For example, I did one last week, and the county representatives are saying, sometimes you need the county to come in and look at, you say you have old bathrooms or your square footage is wrong, the county will come in. And I'm like, no. I mean, sure, the county has employees, and the county employees are supposed to do their job. And if you let them in your house, they're supposed to check to make sure you only have 2 bathrooms. or 2 fireplaces.
Right.
But they're also measuring square footage. They're also looking.
They're also
to
going to look
see
at your basement
at
to
the
see if it's
kitchen, the
finished.
basement to see if it's finished. So I can say things the county can't. And for example, I picked up that the county was lowering the level of assessment for everybody and what a problem it was going to be 4 or 5 years before the county admitted it and before Newsday did their expose. And I could tell people who worked for the county weren't allowed to tell people what was really going on. They were still pretending that what you received in the mail was really your fair market value when everybody knew it wasn't.
Wow.
Nassau County, Suffolk County, you have a friend in Jeff Gold.
It's not
Yes, you
Suffolk.
do.
I don't care about Suffolk.
That's its
I
own
care
world.
about something.
Well, as the
That's
future
its own
governor
world.
of Long Island, I care about.
I like
so-
Suffolk, I do.
I got more people on my Facebook page than you do. If you're going to run for governor,
Well, I would definitely want your support.
Okay.
there.
Now, the 10% number, where we're using 0.25, now they're using 0.10, is that going to be a permanent number, or are they going to change that?
I have spoken to people at the Department of Assessment, and they believe the number is so accurate they are going to use 0.10. It is not going to be reduced when you file your grievance this year. So they are saying they are not going to do mass reductions. You're actually going to have to prove your grievance.
Wow.
Okay, and that's a good thing.
And by the way, John's only running for governor on Best of New York. 'Cause I think that's the only way you can probably win.
Probably.
Best of New York party.
What's
I
your
won the
ticket?
best of Long
What's-
Island impression, celebrity
Oh,
impression.
Best of Long Island, I'm sorry.
You do Jeff Gold?
I don't do Jeff Gold yet, but
He
I'm
will.
going to work on it.
Give him time.
He will. Give him time. Give him time.
Here, we'll trade glass. Oh, we got the same glasses.
No, these are mine.
yours.
Those are his.
What ticket are you running on, by the way?
Independent.
Oh,
I need as many votes as I can get.
you'll get him.
I think we have to do another commercial.
Yes, I think we have some.
Well, why don't we do the
top
show
secret?
flyers first?
Yeah, well,
let's
let's
do
do
the
the
show
show
flyers.
flyers. We have some upcoming shows.
Sorry to bore you, Jeff, but we have the show. I'll show.
Can we bring those
So,
up?
okay, I'm
February
boring everybody
22nd.
else.
That is the show in Connecticut. I don't have the flyer in front of me because I can't see.
Coming up.
That's
So
the Connecticut
that's
show.
that's the
Connecticut.
Connecticut
That's
show.
the one that you're on. That's the.
I'm on that show, yes.
Tell them
It's
what it's
February
about.
22nd.
Tell them what it's about. It's supposed to be with cops and fire.
Yes, that is. It's what they say. 2 cops. No, 1 cop, 2 firemen, and a marine.
We have
taking the
John
stage.
Consoli, Frank Fiala, John LaRocchia, and yours truly, Steve Oliva. Treehouse Comedy on February 22nd in Connecticut.
And Brad is going to be
Thank
a
you,
guest.
Steve, for filling us in on that. You
Is he
take a
a
little
guest,
interest in that. It's the,
is he a guest next
Butchie will be
week?
proud of you.
Hold on. Is he a guest next week, Brad Axelrod? Or
Yes.
Coming up in
Yes,
next
next
week.
week. Next week.
That's at 1395 Post Road in Westport,
Yes.
Connecticut on February 22nd. It's going to be a great show with us 4 that I just mentioned. So
Nice lineup.
then
Yeah,
we
yeah,
John-
doors
is
open
John,
7 o'clock. It's a good it's a good room.
Is John
Comedy
LaRocchia
Treehouse.
headline?
It's either him or John Consoli.
Now,
I missed John tonight. We haven't talked about
Yeah,
John.
and John
much.
hasn't called in.
Yeah, I missed him. Yeah.
He'll call in.
So, and then we have a show coming up on March 9th.
Love to Laugh. That's in New Jersey. I just got added to that show recently.
Oh.
I'll be
That's
on
the
that show.
that's the fire department show, right?
That's the fire department
Monmouth
show.
County
Monmouth County, yes,
I'm
sir.
on that show as well.
You have a
And then the
headliner.
big show,
The
the big
headliner
one.
there, John, is Joseph Anthony.
Joseph Anthony's
Peaches
fantastic.
Rodriguez is on that show.
Yes.
Yep.
Frank
they
Fiala.
They can see it. They can see the flyer.
John
All the
Santo.
names are on
Right.
the flyer.
Yeah, but yours isn't.
Mine
Yours
isn't, but I'm on the show.
But-
If you've never seen
So-
my
so what, no
celebrity
Jewish
impressions,
comedians?
you gotta come.
We have no Jewish
You know
comedians.
Jewish comedians?
Oh,
We
got
usually
plenty.
do. We have plenty.
of
Oh, there's plenty. But not on this particular show.
Right.
And then the big one, the big Gotham Comedy Club show, March 20th.
No, but we also have the show for rescuing families.
When is that?
Well,
That's
it's
not
only
what's up there
Gotham
now.
right now.
We got Gotham up there now.
Okay, so
That's Gotham.
Gotham.
That's a great,
a
great
great
club.
That's the one last
That's a
year
great
we were
show.
at. Seinfeld show up. You never know who's going to show up.
I think Amy Freeze is going
And
to be
remember,
helping us out this year.
none of this is to benefit Laughter Saves Lives direct. Laughter Saves Lives runs
Partners.
these shows, partners with the other charities to raise money for their charity and for first responders and military as well. So just keep that in mind. This is not money that's going directly to Laughter Saves Lives. We get our money through donations
Yep.
and sponsorships. So please.
The
But
generosity
it's
of our
nice. We're
sponsors
still helping
and
other people.
individuals.
That's the,
Yes, but that's the whole point of Laughter Saves Lives. Is
That's
a-
Amy Freeze is going to be helping us
we have
out in that
another one?
show.
Hey, next
April-
flyer,
April
that looks like a
13th?
good flyer. The next one, yeah.
April 13th. I don't know anything
We're
about
going to be
that.
in Florida.
And
nobody-
we're back.
Oh, that's Florida.
Yes,
And we're back.
We're taking a trip to Florida, and we're doing 3 shows. And Steve Oliva, myself, and
Oh,
John.
Florida?
Now,
we're
we do have to get
Oh, I
this
gotta get in shape.
video
R.C.
segment
Smith.
in.
R.C. Smith.
Oh, R.C. Smith.
Yeah, we have 5 viewers in Florida, so I don't know how many people are going to come to
Hey,
that
you never
show.
know. We
matter.
might be gaining more.
never know. We
Once
can
we
get
get out
a
there.
couple
I got a
of
lot of
Yeah.
snowbirds. I'll send them you one.
There
A
you
lot
go.
of snowbirds.
Jeff has 24,000 on his site. Maybe some of them.
We have
come
that
by.
top secret video we have
We're going to show it tomorrow.
Yes.
We're going to play it tomorrow.
Bobby, can you play the MCN duct cleaning commercial?
We're not going to play it,
We don't have it.
but we're going to read it.
It's in post.
Who's got the copy?
Post
I got it in my head.
MCN duct cleaning.
Who am I reading it as this week? What
Doesn't
celebrity?
matter. You pick.
This is Anthony Soprano for MCM Duck Cleaning. They're good. Matt's good. He does a good job. The number is 631-885-5736.
They do the ducks
Clean
at
your
the Bada
ducks. They do all the ducks at the Bada Bing. You ever sneezed at the Bada Bing? No. You know why? Clean ducks.
Tony, if the FBI puts bugs in your ducks, can you get
That's
them out
why
of there?
we sweep all the bugs with the ducks.
And it's very
go.
important to
Long
clean your
Island
air
ducks.
conditioning ducts. Your,
That's right. Long
your
Island
vents,
ducks.
Your vents at the restaurant.
We should get the Long Island Ducks to sponsor MCM.
It's pretty funny.
And stay tuned for our commercial.
Now this
Matt
is
with
no, this
Long
is
Island.
this
Yeah,
is.
listen.
Should I talk about what this is?
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Show the video.
We snuck into the White House and got top secret footage of President Trump writing his State of the Union. And the guy who did this is one of the greatest
could use
celebrity
that.
impressionists of all time. And I know him very well. Let's go to the videotape.
All right, so let's see what I have so far here. The state of our union is strong. The state of our union is strong. So strong. It's so strong. It is so strong. All right, I got to say so strong 3 times. Strong, strong, so strong. Okay. Then I'm going to say we need a wall. And then Nancy's going to go, she's going to snicker and go, and then I'm going to say, Nancy, we need the wall, Nancy. We need the wall. We need the wall. And then she's going to go, she's going to snap. All right, so then I'll talk about the economy. Talk about the economy. And, oh, wait a second, is this?
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.
I think John Santa did these. He's terrific. I like him. He's good. All right, so then we'll finish off with something like God bless you and God bless America. America. God bless America. America. And then, let's see, so I have to be, it starts at 9 p.m. I like to get there early, get a good seat, spot, whatever, parking space. And then, kind of relax, maybe have something to eat. All right, let's see, so starts at 9. I'll leave the White House at 8. It's a couple of miles down, about a mile down Pennsylvania. So without the traffic lights, that shouldn't be a problem. I should be there on time. All right, so then that's the Capitol. Look for Big Dome, Pennsylvania Avenue. I think we're all set. I think this is great. Terrific speech. Tune in tomorrow. See you then. Take care, President Trump. Wasn't that terrific?
Fantastic.
That was very good. That was
Fantastic.
Very good. That was very
My
good.
kids got me that pen. They thought I'd get a kick out of it.
a great
I'm glad
pen.
I
It
put
was
to
great.
good use.
It was
Terrific
fantastic.
pen.
Now, Jeff, you ran for office, did you not?
I did.
And what office did you run for? And are you going to run again?
Well, in 2003, I ran for town council
Okay.
against Angie Cullen.
Yes.
Got my ass kicked.
Yes, you did.
Okay, and then 2006 to 17, hadn't learned my lesson, and I ran for county legislator, and I got my ass kicked. Actually, it wasn't so bad.
But now,
I
Mike,
was- I
do you
was
really
told if
want
I
to
had
run
8,500
because
votes, I'd win.
do you really want to
I
win
had
because
8,700
you
votes,
give
I'd
out such
qualify.
information, such great information, and if you work for the county, you're not going to be able to give that out anymore.
Yeah, well, I'd still be able to give it out, but I wouldn't be able to have my private practice. And so I wouldn't be able to do tax grievances for, fee. And so it would have cost me a lot of money to run, and I knew that at the time. But somebody needed to be in the legislature, and I think they've proven that, who actually understands assessment and understands what's going on and what needs to be done, and that there's a process. And I should have been there. Newsday said I should have been there to do that. Right now, it's just ganging up on the assessor. It's ganging up on the process. And it's not just the Republicans. It's the Democrats, too, have not fully embraced reassessment because nobody wants to be behind a process that increases people's taxes. But
lowers them too in some cases.
some cases it lowers them. In fact, countywide, 52% of the people are going to pay more, 48% are going to pay less. And so you have all these people who are saying, oh, let's do it at 0.25, which is going to take 30 years to correct the rolls. Well, they're not representing the 48% that are going down.
Does anybody audit the county, audit the assessor,
Yes.
like an outside company?
Well,
Outside, like an accounting firm? or-
The county has an accounting firm. It also has a controller who is a statistical analyst like you are. And they run the numbers to guarantee that nobody's making more money off of assessment.
You didn't
Now-
do a good job in Jericho, though.
Well, no, they did because while those people were paying less by $5,000, a lot of people were paying more by $1,000 to $2,000
Oh,
each.
yeah.
So it's revenue neutral. In fact,
That's not fair, though.
what?
That if somebody doesn't grieve, that they pay more.
100% not fair.
Were you up against the incumbents?
I was. Yeah, both times.
Are you going to run again?
Never. 100% never. That is just not something that interests me. I find this in a really good year. County legislator may be able to help 2,000 or 3,000 people in their district. I help 24,000 people every day.
Absolutely.
So
Now,
no-
do you have any seminars coming up?
Yeah, I do. Tomorrow we're doing tomorrow, which is what, February 6th?
Yes.
We're doing a seminar at the Christian Gateway Center in North Valley Stream. I think it's on Central Avenue. We have another one coming up towards the end of the month at the Elmont Library. We have one coming up in 2 weeks at the Plainview Library. And if you go to Nassau Grievy Tax Assessment Free and you go to the events section, and you don't have to be a member to look at the events, it'll tell you where I am and when I am speaking and what the, most of these are just first come, first serve. You show up. Plainview wants you to call in advance because they have 250 seats and they tend to fill up. It's a great room. Have you ever done the Plainview Library?
No.
Okay, it's
I
an
did a cooking demo there.
it's an amphitheater, so it's like you're on
Pat might
stage.
have.
I
So
did a
I
cooking
tell
No,
my
but he
best
might have
jokes.
also.
Now, Jeff, I know you said you weren't going to run, but don't forget when we secede, that's 2 Senate seats that we have.
Oh, that's true. I might be interested.
Right?
Yeah, and I've got all these members just who
And I know great places to eat in Washington,
really.
right near the Senate side too. The Monocle Restaurant, right behind the Senate.
I'm really.
Monica restaurant in
The
Washington?
Monocle,
Right.
Red
The
Basket.
Monica. I was thinking the
thought it was
Monica.
Monica.
restaurant.
Phenomenal.
It's terrific. I
I'm
heard the
really-
hot dogs are
I'm a
great.
one-issue candidate, though.
What?
It's assessment.
Just assessment?
One issue. That's all right.
24/7.
What do you do if your neighbor's putting a bocce court in his front lawn?
Play bocce.
I have a bocce court in my
There's a
backyard.
guy at the end, his neighbors hate him for that, you know?
I play bocce in my backyard.
In your backyard, he puts in his front yard. You
Oh.
show off. It's a show off.
You know, in Belmore, we have this park around the corner from my house. They've got a bocce court.
Nice.
Bocce's a good game.
6 people play a week.
Bocce's fun.
We used to have it at Eisenhower, too.
Yeah, they still have it.
On Sundays.
Yeah, they still have
Play
it.
all
but
day,
nobody
you burn
knows
like
about
3
it.
calories. It's,
Well, now
a
they
good,
do.
it's, a good,
Well,
it's the only
12 people.
sport you can play with a cigar and look cool doing
So.
it.
We're almost at the end of
We're
the show.
just about
right?
at the end.
Listen, I have a tax term or two. No, Patty G has his.
Pat G
segment.
has the history of the
Oh,
tax
right. We got to
system.
get Pat G in.
Is he mic'd up?
He has a segment.
He's coming.
We have a tax-related segment.
We only got a minute.
You mic'd
No,
up.
Oh, we only got a minute.
Listen.
All right.
53.
All right, I
All
have
right.
a couple tax
All right, so
terms.
disregard Pat's segment.
I want to test Jeff on his
the
tax terms.
residents. The fans say they're happy that Patty's not
Okay.
coming on.
You know what you know what write-off stands for?
No.
No.
That's the penalty for stealing in Iran. Write-off.
Oh,
Come on.
oh God.
Third-party designee.
Start the music.
That's
Where's
who
the
your wife
closing
calls
credits?
when the Viagra runs out.
Maybe yours.
How dare you, Jeff? I work. Allowance. That's what Frank's lovely wife gives him on a weekly basis.
Both sexually and monetarily.
And unearned income. Lastly, unearned income. It's what most of us make after a comedy set. Now, wait a minute.
That's what an attorney gets
Folks,
for
I
filing a
gave a
grievance.
few.
Thank you
you.
for tuning in.
So
Thank
listen.
you to our guest.
Thank you to Jeff
And,
for coming
John
in.
LaRocchia will be
John-
back next week. We miss him dearly.
John must have passed out. He must be shaking because
Yeah.
he's been dying to call in, I'm sure. He hasn't called in.
We're worried about him.
John, I miss you, pal. I don't care what
You know.
anybody says. It's not the same without
Kept your
you.
seat warm, John.
That's,
Let's thank Jeff.
so,
great
Jeff,
guest.
we
Jeff.
really appreciate you coming on.
Great
Yes, thanks,
information.
Jeff. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Very
And
learned.
once again, they want us to plug Scott Stanford.
Oh, Scott Sanford.
Who's Scott Stanford?
Stanford. He's
Scott from the news.
He's a sportscaster on Pix 11. He'll be at the
The Gotham
show on.
What's
March.
WWE?
The World Wrestling at the it used to be WWF, right? World Wrestling.
Oh, that's
Federation.
fake. That's fake.
Wow,
Fake
that
news.
was fighting
We are
words.
looking
fake.
forward to
What's
having
a Roxy
Scott.
about?
Only Hulk Hogan and Rocky.
And you know we have
Freeman.
another guest at the
Eroxia.com.
Gotham. Wait a minute. We have another guest at the
Who's-
Gotham show.
Who's the guest?
Frankie? We have another guest at the Gotham show. It'll be Butch Seltzer.
Oh, Butch.
Oh, Butch will be there.
He'll be there.
Scott
But,
Sanford. And I think Amy Freeze is helping us out. I don't know if she's going to appear. I think she is. She's on the flyer.
She is. She'll be there. Yes.
Scott
we have a
Sanford,
wrestler?
Amy Freeze.
A wrestler?
They were with us a couple years ago, and
Bret Hart.
we had a great time, and we're looking forward to seeing them again.
Yeah.
I don't watch wrestling.
I used to watch it back in the day when it was Bruno Sammartino and Harry
folks.
Zbyszko.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Grieve your taxes.
Slapping in hams, popcorn and peanuts. We're working the stands, pink cotton candy, love on a stick. Who's chasing the beer? The trick of the lips, play ball. Play ball. Load up the bases and smack it right over the wall. Play ball. Play ball. Take off the caps. Time for the song.